we've all heard the phrase in sales, always be qualifying. One thing I think that is important to note here is that we should be trying to qualify prospects out as much as we're qualifying them in. Interestingly, one of the hidden benefits of qualifying prospects out is that it shows that we're not pushy salespeople who, with every single prospect that we ever speak to, that we push our products and services onto them. And even if we know that they're not a good fit, we still try and push our products and services onto them. What that does is it actually loses the credibility and trust that we have with prospects. And actually, what can happen when we are very upfront and honest about if we're unsure of the fit that that actually our prospects will oftentimes appreciate and respect that honesty, and that may pay dividends. This is no more true than in this example call that I'm going to play some moments from, where this is an initial discovery conversation with Mark and one of his prospects just very recently, where Mark is very upfront and honest about he isn't sure if there is a good fit here. So what I'll do is I'll play Mark's approach and actually getting that out up front, and then listening to how the prospect responds to that approach, and ultimately what happens at the end of the conversation. So this is Mark right up front telling the prospect his skepticism of there being a fit.
I've done my research this morning. I'm keen not to waste your time. I'm skeptical if there's a fit here. I'm skeptical because, and it might be that what we just do is a couple of minutes, share a few ideas. I'll explain what we normally do and how we work with sales trainers. And you and I, sales professionals together can qualify you in or out and see if there's a fit.
So there's Mark being very upfront and honest, and you can hear from the prospect's tone and his response that he is acknowledges that the outcome here may be Mark qualifying him out and not wasting each other's time anymore. The crucial thing here, the interesting thing here, is listen to how the prospect actually responds in full once Mark's given his explanation.
That's really funny. And I have to hold my hand up and say, I like you, and someday I will employ you. And I'm going to tell you why. You are the first honest salesperson I've come across in a long time that I haven't.
So there's the prospect. Not only does he make Mark a job offer, which is very nice, well, not for me, of course, but he explains that he actually appreciates Mark's honesty to such an extent that he sees this as very unusual. Mark hasn't had to be pushy and push and convince this prospect that what we do is a good fit for him, but has actually just been very transparent and saying actually his feeling is at this stage in the conversation this might not be a good fit. Mark's built that trust and credibility, and what this actually ends up as a result is the prospect by the end of this conversation actually qualifies himself back in.
A value like that.
That could be very interesting. Now, I'm not saying that would work for all my clients at the moment, but it would certainly work for. It would certainly work for. I know there's one of them.
So that upfront honesty, that initial skepticism, and sharing that with the prospect has transformed into a more of an open conversation, and which as a result has seen the prospect actually feel that he is a good fit and has ultimately qualified himself back in. One thing to note here is even though you would typically expect Mark to have done a lot of the convincing here and the pitching, actually, if you look at the balance of this conversation, he's actually only spoke for 35% of the time, which actually showed how that that approach at the start of the conversation actually resulted in the prospect lowering his resistance, being a lot more open, and actually talking considerably more than Mark on this sales call. So give it a try next time. Don't try and push your products and services onto every single prospect. If you're unsure that there's a fit there, be honest about it, be transparent, and you might have more successful outcomes as a result.